Hey, everybody. Welcome to Ultimate Insider, Bear Insider Podcast. I am Mike Pulaski, Cal Hall of Fame quarterback, former 11-year pro, and radio color analyst. Today, I'm talking to maybe my favorite Cal player of the year, and it's going to be somebody you don't expect. As a Cal guy myself, I appreciate people that have a passion for the sport, and I feel like I want to personalize some of our players to you at home. So with that said, let's get to my interview for today, seventh-year senior Luke Bequette. Well, it's not very often that a quarterback has a favorite player who plays on the opposite side of the ball. Not just that, but as a defensive lineman, I have to say my favorite player this year on the Cal team, Luke Bequette, a guy who played at Cal. He's now in his seventh year, played at Cal during the COVID year when the Pac-12 shut down, transfers out to go to Boston College. I was still a fan, still followed him, watched him play back there. Then he comes back to Cal, and so he's joining us now on his lunch break at Cal, getting ready for TCU. Luke, welcome to the Ultimate Insider Podcast.
Thank you, Mike. Glad to be here.
Tell me about your journey. I'm just going to leave it open for you. Your journey at Cal, year 7. You don't often talk about a 7-year senior, right? So year 7 for you coming in. What was it? What has your journey been like? Through this Cal football, transferring out and coming back.
Obviously it's been a long journey. I've learned a lot along the way, but definitely not something you see every day. Spent 5 years here, and they're some of the best years of my life, probably the best years of my life here. And I was really looking forward to that 2020 season. I really think we're going to have a great season. Just obviously with everything that happened, didn't turn out that way. And with the initial ruling of the Pac-12 canceling our season, I ended up going to Boston, and that was probably one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. I mean, that was an even tougher decision, than choosing to go to, which college to go to initially. For me, I had a lot of guys in my ear. My dad was telling me, hey, you need to get ahead of this and get in the transfer portal now. He was already hearing things that the Pac-12 was going to cancel it, and I didn't really believe it. I was still holding out hope, and I told him, I'm going to wait until I get the official word, and then I'll never forget that horrible workout that one day, and they when the news broke, and I kind of realized what was going to happen, and I was literally, like, during the warm up and during the workout, I was crying during the workout just because I knew that I was going to have to leave, and it was a pretty emotional day, just talking with my coaches, strength coaches, players that were there working out with me, and then my call to Coach Wilcox, I could barely even say the words, but it was pretty terrible. But I think in hindsight, it was the right choice. I still got to play in 11 games, which is huge just for me, for my growth, and just being able to learn anything that I could and bring it back here for my 7th year.
It's always kind of cool. A lot of college players don't get that opportunity, right? You transfer out, you see what another system's like, another coaching staff is like. Usually you're kind of in the system that you're around.
Yeah.
And that's it. You get 5 years, and you know very little football coming in, no matter where you come from in high school, right? And then you learn all this football at your college, and there's this big universe of football, but it's really still a pretty small universe, because once you go to Boston College, what was that like for you? What was that like, getting a different experience with different coaches?
So that kind of was part of the reason that I ended up going to Boston, was just because, one, it was kind of the last part of the country that I really hadn't spent significant time in. I'd been up in the Northeast, but, I always lived by my saying, never turn down an adventure. And, that was really what I lived by. And I went out there. I liked the coaches, liked the players that I talked to before I went out there. And, it was kind of a weird time, because they're also going through the COVID season, and when I got there, I had to, they're already in fall camp, and then I had to quarantine for 2 weeks, and then we're trying to figure out the program that I'm going to get into, and then by the time I was all cleared for everything, I essentially had 2 practices before I started the first game. So it was those first 4 games were kind of tough, just because they were essentially my fall camp, and I had 0 stats for those entire first 4 games, and so it was just it was tough mentally. It was a lot like being in the NFL, though. You come in after learning a new system. They kind of, since you're an older guy, they already expect you to to have the correct technique and have the experience. And I think that definitely did get me far enough to where I was serviceable in those first 4 games, but unfortunately I wasn't at my peak performance for those first 4 games, just because I didn't have any practice under my belt yet. And but it was interesting, having to learn a whole new system. Luckily all the coaches and players there, fully embraced me and welcomed me with open arms. And so it definitely did make it an easier experience to be able to try to learn the system and help out the team as much as possible. But it was definitely a tough experience and one that I definitely learned a lot from.
Well, I look at it this way. You had more practice reps than Cal's defensive line did versus UCLA last year. So just saying, that's another story entirely, but just saying. So, okay, so you go through all that. I want to talk about, and we talked about this a little bit off camera before we started. Mm-hmm. We said 7th year, right? Part of that is a redshirt year and then a medical redshirt year. Mm-hmm. So talk to me about how you acquired your medical redshirt year.
Yeah, so I played 4 games in 2016. I was a backup behind James Looney, and it was kind of interesting too, because when I did get hurt, at the time I actually wasn't supposed to get the medical, but I think the NCAA changed the rule the next year, which allowed me to get that medical redshirt. But I initially wasn't supposed to get it. But so how it happened was I was, as the pre-game warm up. We were in shorts and t-shirts, and me and Cam Staffel, we would always go out for the game and play catch, throw the ball around, stay loose, and I always loved running around playing catch, and that was just kind of our routine. And that day that was my peak athleticism in my career. I've always said that I've never felt more athletic in my life, and I was high pointing some balls. I had like an OBJ one-handed catch in there. I could feel some of the fans watching me. I was feeling great, and then
just feeling it.
Yeah, just feeling it. And then he threw me a perfect pass, for if you're a tall tight end back of the end zone, and I high pointed it, and stupid me tried to get 2 feet in bounds, and I did. I made the catch and everything, but yeah, the old knee gave out and popped, and Cam Staffel, with his history of ACL injuries, he said initially he knew instantly what happened, but he came over and he was just kind of like, Luke, get up, man, you're good. But he always said deep down he knew exactly what happened the moment it happened.
Oh, so rough. Yeah. And in college you only need 1 foot, right?
Well,
just saying. In college you only need 1 foot in bounds, right?
Yeah.
If you'd have played by the college rules, you'd been fine.
I was already thinking about the NFL.
Right. Yeah. Well, I like it. It's okay. So that's a rough way to go out, right? A pregame, pre-game mm-hmm. injury is second only to a weight room injury, right? In terms of going out. And so you learn from that. You come along. One of the things that Luke has done kind of over the course of his career here, and how I've gotten to know him, is some of these fan and donor and other events where the players show up. And I made a point a couple of years ago when we were doing kind of the preseason deal where fans came out. Luke got up there and just gave this eloquent discussion over playing football at Cal and being on the defensive line, like all these things. And I pointed out, this is a defensive lineman talking to you. Like it doesn't happen like this at most universities. Talk about playing at Cal and how special it is with the dudes that you're surrounded with.
It really is. I mean, every day I come in, I realize how special it is. And I also think being in my 7th year and being away from the program for a year also just made me realize how, truly how much I love Cal and just how special it is here. And, the guys every year, they're always different, but it's always a great group of guys. And especially under Coach Wilcox, he's really just, it's been all about family and camaraderie. And, we've always had a great group of guys here, and everyone's just super close, and everyone loves each other. It really is a family atmosphere from the top down. And it's really been like that for several years now. And I think that's truly one of the reasons that makes Cal such a special place.
Yeah, culture is such a big thing. People don't realize it. X's and O's are about 50% of the game. But culture is a huge piece of it. And when I say X's and O's also, it's Jimmy and Joe's too, right? It's X's and O's and talent. That's 50% of it. But culture and the chemistry on a team is such a huge part of it. When you have a good culture at Cal, it's pretty special.
Yeah. And I think especially when you've got older guys on the team that are willing to, do the dirty work, play the scout team look or something like that, that's when you've got a good squad.
Absolutely.
When guys are willing to sacrifice themselves for the rest of the team.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Talk to me about, you have an interesting genetic family background in terms of sports. Talk to me about your family background and the athleticism in your family.
So on my dad's side, my grandpa, uncle, dad, and cousin all played football at Arkansas. Cousin went on to play. He had a four-year stint with the Patriots, got a Super Bowl ring, third round draft pick, and actually something that I found out the other day was Brian Driscoll's grandpa played at Arkansas, was an All-American, All-Pro, number retired by the Chargers, NFL Hall of Famer, but he was a couple of years after my grandpa at Arkansas. Both played under legendary coach Frank Broyles.
So on your dad's side, obviously a lot of football, but on your mom's side, there's a little more precision in her sport, right?
Yeah. So she was a Olympic bronze medalist in figure skating and national champion and world champion in '86, I believe. And the joke, I guess, between her and my dad used to be, that I was going to be a hockey player, just kind of combining football and figure skating. And my dad loved hockey, so he wasn't completely against it, but after playing several different sports growing up, and baseball always being my first love. Once I started playing football, freshman year high school, that was when it really did become my favorite sport and my main focus. So never got to play hockey, but I always like go on the ice, when I can. And I think every winter I usually try to go. Me and my girlfriend usually try to go once a year and just get around the ice, zoom around, practice skating backwards, stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's
I look like a baby deer when I get on ice. I am awful. I look horrible. So it's like I knew that my ice days were not long in the making. I used to love water sports growing up, but then I tried to play water polo as a freshman. I hurt my ankle. I'm like, okay, I'm going to drown. So I'm clearly not a water sports guy. I have to be a land sports guy. So tell me this, 7th year now, kind of with all the experience you have, college players don't usually get this experience. Kind of what are your goals for this season? What's it like for you now back with this team? Obviously you're a leader, right? 7th year guy, a lot of experience, a lot of maturity and knowing the team. So what are your goals for this season?
So I think my goals, the way I look at it, I've had 6 years to have individual goals. So, hopefully individual goals do come. Hopefully I do have a good personal season, but I think my main focus this year is definitely just getting the Bears the best record as possible and winning the Pac-12 and going to a Rose Bowl. And I think all those things are still possible, despite the Week 1 game. But I think that we can bounce back. But that's definitely my main focus. And anything else that follows after that, it'll just kind of happen as it happens. But I think I'm definitely just focused on the team goals this year and not necessarily the individual goals as quite as much. But I'm the biggest Cal fan on the team, I think. So I'm all here for the Cal Bears.
You've had the time to truly experience, right? The Berkeley experience, you've had the time to truly experience it, and you've been away from it. They always say you don't know what you've lost until you've left or until it's gone, right? You get to see it go away, and now you're back for it. Anybody at home, by the way, if like I'm thinking Luke is going to have at least a couple of years, but maybe several at the next level. But if you're looking for somebody in work, what field are you going into, Luke?
Commercial real estate. That's kind of been what I've been focusing on. Coach over here at Cal with his program.
Awesome.
He's been the guy, getting us scholarship or not scholarships, but internships, for everyone that's here. And I think he said like last year we had 50 guys get internships, and I've had a couple different ones, but one I've done for about four different summers, and I think that's kind of going to be my main focus once I'm done. And I was able to finish the commercial real estate or not the exam, but the course for it, and then just got to take the exam. And me and Jenna Williams did that this year and a year ago, just kind of over that course of the last year. But yeah, I think we're both interested in that. We both intern at the same place, and it's something that's fun. It's exciting. We we definitely got thrown into it. Had to make a bunch of cold calls this summer, but
Cold calls are fun, aren't they?
yeah, it's fun. That one time that someone actually will listen to you for more than 20 seconds. It's pretty exciting. And we had I think we had like 4 guys in there, and it's funny because we just kind of take turns, each calling someone, and we'd all stop what we're doing and listen how their call's going, and make fun of you if it didn't go very well. So it was a fun time, but I mean that's one of the best things about the scout football program is they really do set you up for life after football.
Yeah, and again, anybody at home in commercial real estate, I actually know several guys who are in commercial real estate that could definitely use ex-Cal football player like you, a guy who's just on top of it, team guy all the way. So Luke Bequette, when he's done playing football on the job market, you should be looking. Trust me, you should be looking. So anyway, great to talk to you today, man. I'm looking forward to seeing this game. TCU, kind of give me a brief preview of the TCU game.
So it's kind of going to be the exact opposite of the last game. They're a very run heavy team this year. They're a spread offense, but they really run the ball, majority of the time. And, that's something that I'm more built for. I love and enjoy these run heavy games, and it's kind of these who's tougher than who games. And, everyone always seems to think that D linemen love pass rushing, getting sacks, but I just love hitting people, getting tackles, trying to blow people back, put them on their butts. So, this is definitely a game I'm looking forward to. It's a little closer to home, so hopefully some of my family members will be able to make it out, and should be a good atmosphere and a really fun game. And we'll have to get them back for the Cheez-It Bowl.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I appreciate you coming on today, brother. I'm going to let you get back to your lunch break, get back to work.
Alrighty.
Get after the football, but always great to have you on. I love watching you play, and I'm looking forward to you having a great season this year.
Thank you, Mike. Always great talking to you too. Thanks for having me on.
So as you can see, Luke Bequette, not just a great football player, but a great guy too. Looking forward to the TCU game this week coming up. I will do my look back at the Nevada game, a little review, take a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly, and a look forward at what's coming up with TCU coming up here in a couple of days. I appreciate you watching Ultimate Insider. I am Mike Pulaski. As always, go Bears.